very special episode of CCTV where we are speaking to none other than Chris Branch from Seed to Branch Marketing. And myself and Claire are huge fans of yours, Chris, and I'm sure many other people on LinkedIn. Let me just tell my daughter not to scream in the background. 1 second. Matilda!
You see, this happens all the time. She just ditches me with some random drama. And I'm like, anyway, how are you? Having a nice day?
It's life in 2021 in a nutshell right there, isn't it?
100%. 100%.
So tell us a little bit about Seed to Branch and when you first founded the page and founded your business. How did it all start and what was the inspiration behind it?
So I started Seed to Branch as a company about 18 months ago now. I didn't launch the business page properly until about 6 months in because I was still focusing on my personal page. Then I hit the barrier, which is 30K connections, started just gaining followers after that. And then realized if I ever want to run ads in the future, I need to build up a business page. And if I'm going to run a social media agency, I should have some social credibility on a company page, you know, especially if I'm advising other people how to manage their own company pages. It's proof in the pudding, really. So I realized I had to siphon off my strategy from a personal page to my business page about 6 months in, and it was just me back then. Now we have, 4 employees, so we're doing a little bit better than back then. It's generally just me posting though, and Amanda, of course, but like 50-50, like throughout the day, depending on each other's capacity and stuff like that. But yeah, so in a nutshell, that's why I started the business page. Not many people would, choose a business page if you got capped by a LinkedIn personal page, but I thought that was the only really route out.
It really sets you apart from any other LinkedIn marketer, I think, and it's actually the most difficult route. And I mean, when I look at your content on Seed to Branch, it is so different to what most people are doing. It really is content marketing, and it really, you guys are amazing content curators as well, because you're always finding something new, interesting, inspirational. You seem to be so on the pulse with what other agencies are doing as well. So what would your top tips be when it comes to content curation? How do you spot new and interesting things to share that hasn't already been done before or recently?
Very good questions. There's so many levels to this. You can go from Google Alerts all the way up to beyond BuzzSumo, which is a social listening platform that, costs hundreds of dollars a month. So it really is about how much you're going to be leaning into this in terms of the ratio of your strategy from your own content. How much of your own content have you got? What size business are you? Like, how much time do you have for curation versus creation? There's so much into it. If we made our 10 posts a day all in-house, I wouldn't do any client work. That's as simple as that. Like, there's just no other way around that. So we lean in it heavily. Plus we have like a really active community of creatives that love to be inspired for their own campaigns, and they'll spread our marketing message further than we ever could through this core, who cares about pods? You don't need a pod. You can create your own LinkedIn bridges, and that will create your own, they'll get suggested your content every time. And that was what I was just leaning into heavily, is how do I get, spend £0, although I need to go for a company page, get as many engagements as I need in order to close the business that we need. And it's way in excess of that. I don't know what, your personal page is pulling in terms of lead development and stuff like that, but it's surreal the numbers you can get without paying a single.
I don't even reply to all of my leads, like, because I literally physically can't. So I can't keep on top of it. I get more than 2 or 3 a day. Plus, probably I'm not saying like every day I get 100 messages, but there's a hell of a ton of messages coming through, and it's just almost impossible. Like, I think if I had investment and funding, I could probably grow a bigger agency, but at the same time, like, I like what I've got now, and I like working closely
I like the
with my
smaller
clients.
model too. I've been in way bigger agencies. I've seen the growing pains. I've experienced them, and you know, the overheads that come with the growing pains and all of these other things. Like, I like to keep it lean and personable. We don't even have account managers. Every one of us has 10 plus years experience in their creative field. So when you talk to Paul, my head of creative, you're getting a videographer with 10 plus years, a graphic designer with 10 plus years, me as a marketer with 10 plus years, and Amanda with social as 10 plus years. You know, that's how we roll. There's no typical agency account structure. There's no account managers. There's no middle person to translate things wrong. It's like, you want to change in your graphic design, talk to Paul. You want to change in your social media plan, talk to Amanda or me for the data and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been wild, like, to use ourselves as the concept, our own case study in many ways. So documenting that's been really interesting, and testing and experimenting how frequently you can post from a company page versus a personal page, and get traction, you know. And what we aim for is consistently 1,000 followers a week. And then we try to reverse engineer that into how many posts that would take. You know, some posts can blow up. Like, we had one a couple of days ago with Kellogg's that had like 7,000 likes or something, that attributed like 500 plus followers on its own. But then there's others that will only get like a small handful. And so it's like, you've got to intermingle, keep posting, you know, until you've got to your respected number. Like, no, things are going to flop occasionally. You need to learn from those mistakes, build it back in, and, you know, you get stronger and stronger over time. You can't fake any of this.
I think that's a good indicator when you look on people's profiles, actually, if literally all of their posts are reaching 2,000 engagements or 800 engagements on every single post. There's something going on, because there's no one consistently reaches those levels consistently every single time. There's not a perfect formula. If you are a content creator that is creating original content and you try something different, it could go really well and it could flop. Like, that's the risk that you take. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the size of your audience. You know, we've got 50,000 plus followers. Sometimes we have posts with less than 100 likes. And that's just like, oh gosh, you know, how little of a percentage of our audience do we reach via that? But then others will get above and beyond what we even have as total followers, which is, it's just so wildly fluctuating.
I've got a question for you, Chris. Actually, I've been interested in your take on this. So I've seen quite a lot of posts since I've been using LinkedIn a bit more. I'm probably quite a bit behind you guys, but it's a massive part of my business now. And like you said, it's generating me loads more leads. I never have to send out any nasty emails, pick up the phone, do nothing. It all just arrives at the door. But it is, of course, time consuming. But you spend lots of time on the platform and you sort of live and learn. I see quite a lot of posts now where people are almost having a go at people for chasing engagement, and calling it vanity metrics, and people having a go as though you are that piece of content, and you think if you get 500 likes on that content, you're going to be fluffing your hair all night. And I find that really strange. I always stick up for the I'm sorry, that's a load of bollocks side of this argument, because I'm marketing. I don't understand personally, for me, why people don't understand that. But then at the same time, maybe people do get a bit vain on the platform. Over to you. You're the prime.
Yeah, I think it's very much contextual, that answer. It's like, you know, what are they posting? Is it relevant to their business? Can you tie it back in a clever marketing way? Because that's just organic growth. That is how you play the game, the organic like wave of engagement. But if it's got literally nothing to do with you and you're just doing it for vanity metrics, you know, I understand that side of the argument as well. I think it's a waste of time, it's a waste of data, and it's largely how they use it and the context of it being used is what I find. You know, I see these like wishy-washy, everybody's doing the same post. It's like, you know, do this reaction or that reaction in order to vote for how old you are when you joined the workforce. And yet they look at, and you look at their job and they're in accounting and you're like, well, how does that, you know, what are you going to use that data for? Like, I don't understand what the point of that was. Because then you look at the next 3 posts and it's got 2 likes on it, and the other one's got 6,000, and you're like, hang on a second. So it didn't even get people interested in your next post. None of those 6,000 people engaged in your next post. So that's how irrelevant it was to you. But if it was something that was cleverly done, like I was saying, these gray areas, I do like to push the buttons with LinkedIn. Me and Dan Kelsall probably are in a race for how many posts we've had taken down by LinkedIn. He's probably winning just about.
What's the best offenders? What have you had taken down?
Oh,
Come on,
I've had all sorts.
I spoke to Dan on LinkedIn because I was like, when my profile kept getting taken down, which made me absolutely fuming, by the way. I literally questioned all my life decisions. I was dying.
Number one business maker, and they just take it away from you.
It's cool,
like
is it?
crazy, isn't it?
But I messaged Dan and I was like, Dan, you literally write, I won't say the word, but the C word and stuff like that in your posts, and your posts are still there. Like, why are mine getting taken down? And he said he's never had his profile taken down. He's only had a couple of posts removed, and they stopped removing his posts now.
Well, that's interesting because Mike Winnett certainly got his profile taken down temporarily. And then I saw that a few of us had what's called like a shadow ban, where you're not searchable. So you're still there in terms of a profile in LinkedIn, but people can't look for you. And they won't find you, and your content won't be suggested and stuff. So
you're in the doghouse, basically.
There's restricted posts as well. Yeah,
I had that.
So some of them, they'll give you a notification publicly. They'll say this has been restricted to only you viewing because the context of it was deemed against our terms and conditions by whatever means they bloody say, you know. And then, but you've got no way to argue that. Like,
there's no recourse, is there?
I've had some of the most light-hearted content you could imagine restricted, like just a random picture and somebody, you know, thought it was against their religious beliefs or something. It was something so with mysterious link that, you know, 3,000 people hadn't had a problem with it. One person had a problem with it. It disappeared. And I was like,
madness, that is.
Good God, like I can't even.
One person can sink your ship.
Yeah, I can't even argue your case against it about what, you know, what your intentions were behind it. They don't want to know. It's like if someone complains, it goes, But that's social media and cancel culture currently, isn't it? Literally, you know, to press on a deeper subject, it's like it's easier to get rid of it than to question the motivation and intention
conversation
behind it.
Or whatever.
Yeah, a conversation is not being had. It's just like, nope.
No, I agree. It's not cool. I mean, if it was something completely like 100% no gray areas, wronger than wrong, that's one thing. But from what I can see, when the people that it happens to, or when it happens, it's a genuine mystery. Like, why is it even gone down?
I know, right? And if you think about like who these people are that are complaining about it, in my network, it's the top 1% of content creators, you know, to push engagement natively on the platform. It's not the middle people that hardly get any engagement. It's the ones that get a lot of eyeballs that are then being like toe the line.
It does seem to be.
And that to me, you know, rings alarm bells in terms of what LinkedIn thinks of creators and like what they would like to push in the future and how the platform's going to advance and all of these questions. I do wonder, you know, where we're going to hit like a, you know, can't say that anymore or can't say this anymore.
We're already there. I put a post up after I kept getting banned about how to cope with keep being banned on LinkedIn, and it was taken down literally. It got like 200 likes in like just over an hour, and then it was removed. They blocked it, and I was like, I was fuming. But there we go. So you said that in the future, or not too far from now, you're going to look to start building your personal brand, which is exciting. What type of content are you going to be putting out for that?
Well, it's whether or not I spearhead the company with my personal brand. You know, I think I need to just start becoming more of like a thought leader around stuff and having my face involved in it, as opposed to like going back to my personal profile, which is still limited to 30,000. And that will always frustrate me until the end of time that LinkedIn makes that the cap. Because there's no fundamental reason for it. You know, you can have X amount on other platforms and they don't bother to restricting you, but having followers is great, but they can't have one-to-one interaction. And that's really, really irritating to me.
Yeah.
I mean, alternatively, you know, the company profile also really restricted. How they can call it a B2B platform when businesses can't speak to businesses makes me question if Facebook businesses can talk to other businesses, are they not more B2B than LinkedIn? In many ways, like it's
valid point.
It's very strange. Like I hope they sort this stuff out, and in the future, because even LinkedIn stories for company pages, you can't talk directly to a company page. You can't reference that story to somebody. You should be able to go to the admins of that page and stuff. There's loads of user experience flaws, but I use our company page mostly as just soaking up, as casting the net as wide as possible, influencing marketers in all B2B sectors via like going back to one of your earlier questions, strings of social listening activities, which are multiple different sources of content that are then automating into my email inbox, and I can just flick through in 15 minutes and set up 10 posts in 15 minutes. Wow. I don't schedule them or anything like that, unfortunately, because again, schedulers are naff on LinkedIn. They don't allow via the API to schedule native video or native PDFs or any of this stuff.
It's irritating.
So irritating. Could do it on Facebook.
You're not allowed. LinkedIn don't want you to schedule your posts in advance. They want your post to be organic from you in that moment, because they want to develop thought leaders. And you're not allowed to give someone else your login details, even if it's for a business account or whether you've built a personal brand. I emailed them and I was like, excuse me, but what about massive CEOs that have got 500,000 followers? Do you not give their VA? Their VAs will have their logins and they'll be logging in and checking their accounts without a doubt.
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
I think they just don't think VAs and social media managers exist in LinkedIn. Whereas actually, because, I don't have a LinkedIn account manager. Do you? At Facebook, you get a Facebook account manager. Yeah. You don't get that. I have to complain to LinkedIn the same way as anybody that on LinkedIn works. And yet my whole business is orientated on this platform. I get no special attention, no anything, like no customer support line that's extra to the average LinkedIn user that could have 5 connections, literally.
I like to go onto their Instagram and comment on every single one of their posts until one of their team members reply to me when they don't respond to me. And tag them in loads of stuff. Irony. And then loads of people, like crazy people, comment on there going, oh, we hate LinkedIn. And I'm like, come on, LinkedIn, give me an answer.
So do you push on Instagram as much as LinkedIn?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, how do you get the time? Like, no. I thought you were going, I did wonder, whether or not it was worth taking the same content from LinkedIn and just, creating it on an Instagram page as well. But then when you look at their pay to play model and how to grow a page, and it's just too much.
It is.
And you can actually get good organic growth on Instagram if you utilize the reels and stories and stuff like that, but the generic posts that you do aren't brilliant for reaching a wider audience unless you're going to pay. But yeah, for me, I do try to post on Instagram. I find it so difficult though. I've got 17 clients at the moment and my own stuff, which I'm too scared to stop because I'm so scared that one day I'll just be poor, even though that's not looking likely. I just can't stop marketing myself as well. So it just freaks me out.
Never stop marketing yourself.
No.
In fairness, you shouldn't.
Yourself than any client, because you're willing to push yourself to whatever levels you can do and then you can test the boundaries for clients. We use ourselves as a testing model all the time. And I want to do this more and more in the future, is go, we'll prove the concept first via us, and then you can take this and absorb it. So, if anything, it's a testing ground. You can't ever get rid of it. Like it's hard to keep up with daily, but yeah. I think
it's your credibility as a marketer as well. If you've done it for yourself or your own company page or however you've done it, you can say to people, look, I've actually put this into practice and it works.
Yeah. And practice what you preach is something that, is really close to me, especially because I don't have account managers or a typical agency structure or anything like this. It's really, they get to know us as individuals, and our content many times, many dozen times before they approach us is very much a different conversation that when they're super warm like that.
Yeah.
And, it's really about when can we start a project, as opposed to how much budget have you got? What are you doing? When all of that nonsense, like cold sales, pushy pitch
it
meetings.
just goes, doesn't it? And it's such a relief. It feels like it's almost a thing from sort of 1970 now. And I say that as someone who was in B2B sales years ago and did very well from it. But the thought of having to do all of the things that I used to do 10 years ago now, it would just seem almost embarrassing. Like you really weren't being very slick or strategic about it. And it's not even necessary.
It's not necessary. You know, what we actually describe doing for clients is setting up their own Amazon Go store. Do you guys know what an Amazon Go store is?
No
idea.
Oh God. So this is like completely customer serviceless stores in America. They're coming over to Europe at the moment.
Yeah, so you walk in and you literally scan a thingy and then you walk around, put stuff in the basket and then just walk out the shop, don't you?
Well, you don't even need to scan it. There's cameras pointing at the product. So when you pick it up, it automatically puts it in your basket. And when you walk out, it automatically charges it to your Amazon account. There's literally nobody in the store. So you can do that through an inbound content marketing model, though. You know, if enough people that you can attribute as say, okay, so they're the right people I want to work with. They've engaged with 20 odd posts. I've stored that in a, you know, information sheet to know that they've had that amount of touch points. They're primed to send onto our PDF, which if you have Team Sales Navigator, you can actually host your PDF in LinkedIn itself. And then every single person that clicks on that link, you get a direct attribution of how long they read it for, what page they dwelled on. And then you can link out your diary from there and bingo, you know, you don't ever, apart from sending them onto the PDF as a direct message, need more than that. And if they want to, they will book themselves in your diary. And if they don't, you don't need to hassle them because, you know,
the exchange is done.
Exactly. And if there's like, you're just sending this like warm PDF to warm people, enough people will book themselves into your diary that you won't ever need to do anything else. And they'll have known so much more about you by reading your whole PDF. You know, you put your call to action booking at the end of the PDF to make sure they've read it all. And then as you're going on to the call for them, you can literally look at the analytics. Oh, so they spent 3 minutes looking at slide number 12, which was all about my marketing services for, you know, strategy or something like that. And then you go, oh, open up a conversation about what they most read about, and it flows naturally as well. And then it's like, when do we start the project? We put our prices in our deck, which is something that not a lot of agencies do. And so people only book into our diary if they know they can afford us and they know when we can click off a project. And so it's, I think that's a real big thing that we changed is exactly what you're going to be delivered for the cost, how long it takes to roll out, how much you need to be involved in this, because people think we're going to take over their LinkedIn, whereas actually we need them to be more active than they ever were before. And they don't realize that. And then they're like, oh God, you know, I've got so much responsibility in this. It's like, well, yeah, if you want it to work well and you want us to understand what your business does, then you can't just let us go for 4 months and do what we want. Like, there's no way that's happening. So yeah, now we're getting it, you know, this is 18 months into it, and started out completely on my own, and now it's, you know, looking into something. We could get 100 leads a day. It's ridiculous, and we can only work with 12 people as well, so it's pointless us getting 100 leads a day. And I'm I'm starting a new company to actually see if I can give these guys something, because 99.9% of our traffic right now, we can't send.
Get downstairs, please, if you can't stop shouting. Thank you.
Needs to give someone a slap.
Oh,
you tell him, Sean. There we go. Mama served it cold.
Sorry about that. And you were just telling us something really interesting.
That's life.
So
no, it's not.
Starting another business, because 99% of the stuff you can't even service.
Yeah. They're like, you know, we're not cheap by any means. Like, if you're going to buy a project from us, it's going to be 10 grand over 4 months. So most businesses right now won't have 2.5 grand a month to chuck into something. And so we're going to try and start like a lighter version of our package so that it's more applicable to a wider audience.
Yeah.
Just because all of our social engagement, like I said, what's the ratio of 12 clients to 5 million visitors every month? It's ridiculous.
Not ideal.
It's not even 0.00001% probably that we can actually work with.
You're so right. What about
that would be good?
Sorry, Claire.
Yeah, no, you go on, darling. Off you go. You do talk too much, but I love it.
What about like e-commerce or merchandise or something? You know, have you thought about that?
Oh, I have a head of creative, and he's a wicked like minimalist graphic designer. We've got posters. You can see one of them as a Matrix poster right there.
Sweet.
But we had a whole series of content for PDFs on LinkedIn where it was like guess the movie from the minimal design poster, and that was really popular. So we launched like a Redbubble site, it's called, where they will print and frame something, and you can just buy the design, and then we get a certain percentage of that, and they do all of the rest, and then send it on to people. But there's so much hassle in it, you wouldn't believe. Like, I want to start doing them as giveaways as opposed to trying to sell them to people. But yeah, I'm gonna order like 100 of everything. Like, I'm gonna get Seed to Branch like coffee mugs and like hoodies, and I even won like a pair of like flexi fit. I'll get this right. There's an agency in Scotland. I hope he sees this, and they're called Mad Brave. And I thought it would be hilarious as another agency owner to basically comment on their competition about winning flexi joggers, because they were announcing their flexible working scheme. I thought it was a genius way to announce a flexible working scheme with flexible like joggers. So I commented and said, I'll give you a post from Seed to Branch if you send me a pair of joggers. And he messaged me a few days ago saying, congrats, you've won and stuff. I thought, he was handpicking these, and he could have picked anyone, like, a prospect or something to send on this merch to. But he didn't. He chose me, another agency owner who probably will never buy from him, but mad respect for the way that he put that content out to get the engagement and stuff. So I just gave him props. And now I'm going to, give him a post from Seed to Branch, which might lead to him getting more prospects.
Yeah, maybe he's in the long-term game there with the whole. So how did you get on your business page, like nearly 60,000 followers in what, 6 months, did you say?
No, it's been about 10 months in total, but give or take, I've been very much posting 4 or 5 times a day on some days and 0 times a day on others. It's been a long old experiment, but initially what I started doing is, because I had a really good personal page and a lot of people were engaging with that, I was both an admin and a member of a company page. Right. So you can post as an admin and then like it as a member, and it will suggest it to your connections because of you liking it as a member. So initially I was using my own, keeping up my post on my personal and then going on the company 50-50 to try and bleed across the audience, being that, not that I probably will ever need to, but if I wanted to run ads in the future, you can't run them from personal pages. You have to run them from company pages. So like the proof is in the pudding. If you run an ad as a page with over 50K followers, that they're a company to take seriously, and not if you've got 500 followers, because they're going to go, well, what do these guys do? They're hardly known. Should I trust them with my money? Especially if you want to do like automatic billing through Stripe payments. No one's going to sign up to something like that if they don't see social proof of some sort.
Yeah.
So I was bleeding members across from my personal page. And when I employed other people, I encouraged them to do the same. Like if you post as an admin, like as a member, and then we will keep continually getting all of our audiences to strengthen into the centralized pot. Problem is you can't talk directly from a company page to anybody that's engaging. So you have to reach out from personal pages. Eventually, though, I took it entirely onto the company and stopped posting from mine almost altogether now, because I noticed when I did a side-by-side comparison of the followers that I was getting 5 times the reach on my company page compared to my personal. And I don't know still to this day exactly why, but I've got a lot of factors that I think are influencing it. So I could go on about this for goddamn ever, but
I'm going to order a pizza.
There's so much involved in the frequency of posting. Let's just put it that way. I can post 7 to 8 times a day from Seed to Branch and have the same chance for any one of those to go viral. But then from my personal page, I noticed any posts after 2 and they were tanking, just completely tanking. So that's where I was like, okay, I can post more frequently from a company page. It's more likely to be suggested in the feeds of people I want to speak to. And they're finding a direct attribution to our website via a button on the homepage of the company page, which we don't have a website currently. And we haven't had for 3 months. We just invite people to a PDF, but a social agency without having a website and still getting 100 leads a day, it just shows you how powerful organic can be. I don't have a website. Right. I wouldn't inherently trust a digital agency that doesn't have a website, and yet people trust us. So it makes me feel like we're doing something so right that it's like unbelievable in many ways. You know, everything that we've got offline on the website, off of the website, you know, our PDFs and our DocuSign and everything is totally professional, but we want to have a really killer website. So we've been building it for ages and we've just had a landing page to book into my diary, and that's enough. It's been mad.
So who is it that invented the 5-in-1 animated posts? And
I have to give all credit to Paul.
Yeah, they're amazing.
He really, I mean, he just ran with the idea. We discussed it once as he was, I'd given him 50% of Seed to Branch. And from August this past year, he was just killing it. You know, it was like him as the creative and me as the marketer. So as all good marketing, you can have a really good creative that with no distribution gets seen by nobody, and you can have really naff creative that I was making on my own because I'm not a graphic designer by any stretch of the imagination, and get it seen by thousands of people and not necessarily want that. So like it had to be, you know, the synchronization of his skill set and my skill set, and that's why I get, you know, Paul is just the god at doing these things. Like he's been so creative with the platform that it's broken it many times. And that's been really irritating to me because iOS and Android and desktop load our 5-in-1s completely differently. And so people will send me screenshots every single time we make one going, did you realize this doesn't align? Did you realize this doesn't align? I'm like, let me guess, you're on Android. And they go, yeah, how did you know? And I'm like, I only get these messages 20 times a day. Oh, you think you're so unique and cool, don't you? But you're not. That's pretty much how it goes. So, but yeah, all credit to Paul. Can't take any credit whatsoever for that. He absolutely just, he had the idea. I think initially it was for a WWF campaign where we were going to get a panda to crawl from the left to the right, to the down, to the middle, and it was going to disappear over every tile, and it was going to be awareness in 1 minute briefs. It was going to be a campaign with 1 minute briefs to then basically push that as an awareness piece. And then he goes, oh, we could make a brand storyline out of these. We could announce anything via one of these. It just needs to be synchronized motion graphic design that has a story behind it. So it can.
I mean, you just totally own that space, don't you? Because it's like if anyone copies that, they so know they're copying Seed to Branch. Like,
well, we've got a few copycats now, but again,
you know, you've made it then.
The distribution's not there. They don't get it. You know, we work for weeks to get these things off the ground, and we'll do social listening in regards to the keywords that we're going to be building it for, like weeks in advance. So if it's about, you know, term sheet negotiation or cryptocurrency or CBD products or whatever the hell it's about, you know, we will do 3 weeks worth of posting, building up to that, getting the audience ready, getting marketing lists ready, you know, storing that so we can distribute. Would you be happy, you know, to see our 5-in-1 when it's officially launched in 3 weeks? There's so much more to it than, because we used to sell these, you know, just people used to buy 5-in-1s from us, and they will just flop because you can't post nothing and then post something amazing and then hope everyone sees it. It doesn't work like that. Many shiny pennies as you want and throw them at people, but you know, that's not going to work. They don't understand SSI, you know, the social selling index, and having a profile that's actually marketable via building a score. They, you know, I don't know how much is involved, to be honest.
I mean, it's a really tricky one, that, because I think long term you do need to pay attention to those things, but you can have posts that just go insanely viral.
Of course, yeah. I mean, when you're completely banking on that, you are, you know, we put 20 hours, sometimes £100 an hour into one of these 5-in-1s. So this is like thousands of pounds of investment. You can't just let it flop. So you've got to build marketing lists. So when it's pushed out, you know, you've got people you can send this to straight away. They've already said, I'd like to see this. And then what's the follow-up collateral? You know, is it a PDF that they can then book into a diary and then become a marketing qualified lead? Because if it's not, great, you got a load of brand awareness, but where's the leads? You know, it's not.
That's where I'm at.
Yep. So You know, they buy that whole project from us, though. They now know we can do the attribution and we can deliver people to a PDF. And when they log into Team Sales Navigator, they can see how long people have been reading the PDF. So they know it's working. There's lots more steps to it than just content.
I think that's a big sort of difference in what you're saying. Like, it's one thing just sort of creating good content, and that's great, and it's a nice skill to have. But like what you just said, what are you actually doing with it? Where is it going? What are you driving people towards? And yeah, sometimes it's nice to have some nice fluffy posts and you're just chatting and whatever else. But if there's not some sort of underlying or sort of underarching strategy, and you're just talking, like I've been speaking to people on LinkedIn before for 6 months and would class them as what I would call like a little linky mate. I don't even know what they do. They don't talk about it. They're just popping out nice content and perfectly nice person. But you suddenly realize after 6 months that they're in the health and fitness industry. Oh, okay. You're not doing too well on the content, mate, because who knew? You know what I mean? Like, it can be nice content, but if it's not doing anything, it's wasted space in many respects.
Yes, it is. And most people don't get that. You know, they only see the surface. Oh, I need to get likes. I need to have a presence. I need to do this. And then they'll buy a package from someone that doesn't know how to turn that into marketing qualified leads.
Yeah.
So it is really pouring money down the drain. Dan Kelsall says that so well. I can't say it better than him, honestly. You know, if you just get one part of the puzzle, you are literally pouring money down the drain. And I've seen people buy video content for 25, 35,000 and it get 5, 10 likes.
Oh my God.
And it's
like, I've seen that as well.
Say, like, what are you doing?
Video content can be so expensive. This is what I'm always preaching to my clients when I work with people on their personal content, because I will just tell them that this is what you need to do. This is what you need to talk about. X, Y, Z. Just do it on your phone. Like, you do not need to spend...
We always have this. Oh,
I'm back. But I say to them,
I'm laughing because you dropped out for a minute.
It's delayed, yeah.
You don't need to spend thousands and thousands of pounds on video content that can reach a wider audience. Like, a lot of my videos now are getting between 200 and 600 and sometimes even 1,000 likes. And I literally make them on my phone or my computer in like 10 minutes. So,
well, you're in exactly the same mindset as me then, because you're a business owner. You don't have a lot of time to do it. You do it for clients every day. What is the smallest amount of effort you can get the most amount of brand awareness from, and cast the net as wide as possible, and then follow up with all of the engagement? This is, you know, that's exactly what we need to be in. Now, not everyone's like that. You know, our clients aren't like that. Mostly our clients are big B2B companies. They have a marketing director, a team of people. This is not what an SME would do, though, you know, being that we are as much in our businesses as on our businesses. You know, I can't believe that you juggle 12 clients on your own, or 20 clients, or however many you have on your own. It's unbelievable to me to think that's possible.
She barely sleeps. I can vouch for it.
Yes, well, that's true.
Not that I'm saying I sleep with her.
I do have a couple of people. I do have a couple of people that work for me. I've got a VA and I've got another guy that helps with content as well now, but not a huge amount. But some of my clients I just do 3 posts a week for. Some of them I do 5 posts a week for. So. Right.
Okay. So your deliverables are literally X amount of posting content and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But like you said, I'm quite big on the analytics, and I always have a weekly catch up with them and check how many leads they're actually getting and how many new clients they're onboarding as well, because I do like to point out to people if they're like, you know, their expectations are completely unrealistic.
And you feel like you can justify it, then in your own head you can go, right, this is so much more valuable to a client now. Like, I know every part of this process inside out. And then you can start going, this is going to work for you no matter what you do or who you are. It's because my process is so thought out. And there's definitely, like, this doesn't work for all in LinkedIn, like, but there's certain processes you can build, which are, you know, oh, someone saw a post, they saw 12 posts, you invited them to a PDF, they booked in your diary. Doesn't matter what you sell. Is that a product? Is that a service? You know, are you talking to councils? Are you talking to government? Doesn't matter. That's the sort of like general B2B lead development process that anyone could subscribe to in an inbound model. So once you figure out that and what all of the, you know, there's definitely going to be bottlenecks. Every one that you build, everyone's going to have to be different. You can't one size fit all anything, but you can.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's right. It's more about, I think, the process and tailoring that process for each different sort of audience or product or industry. But you do see this kind of blanket approach on LinkedIn sometimes, don't you? Where it's oh, I've got 40,000 billion followers in half an hour. You can too. Come and hop on my course. And I just think to myself, well, I've got clients that only want to talk to board level people and C-suite execs. Like, you're not gonna put the same content out and fish in the same ponds and have the same conversations as I do with someone that's doing retail, let's say, for example, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, sometimes it feels very much like there's a bit of a blanket approach kind of thing with LinkedIn. And it's like interesting with what you're saying about, you know, SSI and, you know, listening to feeds and getting all the keywords right. Anyone would think you know what you're doing. It's absolute crazy talk.
I mean, it's kind of funny now you say that, you know, because when I look at some people in the way that they try to train people en masse, I do question how many of these people then can become a case study for you. You know, say, you know, I don't want to call out any names. I know that there's certain people in LinkedIn that do this like broad spectrum training where they invite hundreds, if not thousands, to via Facebook groups and stuff to attend their events. And it's usually a free event, and then you can go onto a paid model thereafter. And it's quite hard selling, you know, in the free event so that you can get them to the paid version and what have you. But when they get to the paid version, how many of those people actually come out of it and are able to implement the things that they were taught, and it is applicable to all? Because to me, it sounds a bit like, you know, when you just say generalized things like you're a palm reader or something, you don't give specific things to specific people, which is why I reverse engineered that in my business model. I wanted to go, what's your exact problem?
That's what I think. You've just coined what I've been trying to say for about 20 minutes. That is it. It's not specific enough for me, and therefore I find it questionable. Yes. And it is spurious when you hear these like buzzwords and stuff. I've done it, so I can speak to anybody, and then you'll be able to do it. Really? Is that how it works? I don't think so. I would never dare to claim something like that. You know, I wouldn't say because it works for me, it's going to work for you. And I think that that's what people see in us. They go, right, how can you adapt what you know into what we already do? And then how does it make this? And it's perhaps that's why they trust you, even though you haven't got a website. Perhaps. It's just too real. Well, you know, at every point, I just want to make them realize, like, there's no pressure here. You know, there's literally zero pressure here, especially in the last couple of months when we're booked out till after August. It's literally like, well, we can't start for 4 months. So we can start the chain of you giving us briefs and stuff, but literally we're not going to be able to jump on this for 4 months. So, you know, if you've got a project coming up at that time, let's have ongoing chats now so that we can get the trust. They're going to get fed in 4 months' time. They're probably going to get fed 500 plus posts from us. So they will have so many. They'll know you so well, though. Like, that's such a nice way. That's such a nice way to get it all going. It's like by the time you're ready to go, boom, let's have it. You're like little bestie buds. They know how you work. They know your kind of, you know them. They know you. Well, like Charlotte was saying, you know, we could have scaled up and had 20, 30, maybe even 50 employees by now, but I wanted to keep that personalized experience. This light package that I'm going to offer now is going to be more of that typical agency model with account managers, and because it's going to be smaller projects or smaller budgets, but on a wider scale. You've got 4 kick-ass people and you're all thick as thieves and everybody's got a bazillion years of experience. Yeah.
We need to edit this episode and get it out for 9 o'clock. So we're going to have to stop talking, guys. But we're never going to get this out at 9 o'clock. We will. 100% we will, Claire. Go on. We will. Will we? Yes, right, have faith. Good. We're gonna do good space. Was there anything else? All right. If you say so. My Wi-Fi is ropey. So before you go, Chris, there's a couple of things here. I was going to say to you, can you caption this?
Oh,
in your face.
This is a starfish. I know it doesn't look. It's a really skinny starfish. It's from Cornwall.
Is it made of coral?
It's an eel.
It's a real starfish.
Oh yeah, it's a real dead starfish I'm holding.
Starfish. It's not well.
Oh, you put me on the spot. I'll
Do
call
you
it
want a different one?
I'll call it the 5 pillars of content.
Oh yes. Okay.
That's a reference to one of our clients, and if they see that, they'll know.
They'll be impressed.
We've actually got a business model called the 5 pillars of content.
There you go.
Can you caption this?
Lunch?
Peter Piccolo. No. I don't know.
You're in a right pickle now, aren't you?
Hang on.
Dear.
Right, one last one, and then we'll let you go.
Only 1 point so far. Is that an orange or is it a lemon?
It's a lemon, mate.
Okie dokie.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Don't be bitter, because our content's better than yours.
Oh,
that's what you should be saying.
Well.
It's gone bitchy.
Bitter. Nice.
But anyway, we will let you go because we've taken so much of your time this evening. But thank you so much for coming on the show, and it's so good to hear about your business and
that was genuinely awesome. That was really awesome, Chris. Thank you very, very much for coming and talking to us.
Soon. Invite me back soon.
100%.
You're going to have many guests, I've no doubt.
Oh, we would love to have you back.
But I'll be back whenever you want me.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
Whenever, seriously.
Perfect. Perfect. That's awesome.
If it's like recorded at this time, it's perfect for me. So
sweet.
Whenever.
And I think that now ties us nicely into beer o'clock.
Well, you have a beer and I'll do the editing. Deal?
Oh, you heard her. Cheers, Chris. Take care, mate.
Cheers. See you later.
Bye. Bye.